don't fall into despair if you find some fluctuation in your state. That's the first lesson. Now the question is, how do we still keep our state good, generally, even with the fluctuation? And the answer is, it has everything to do with our regiment. Our regiment. So look, if you look at the physical world, your physical health is going to have everything to do with your physical regimen. What do you eat every day? What do you drink every day? Do you take your vitamins? Do you exercise? You understand? So the physical regimen has an effect on your physical health. In the exact same way, your spiritual regimen has an effect on your spiritual health. You are what you eat. Okay? So whatever you're consuming, and whatever you're consuming into your spiritual heart is going to have an effect on your spiritual heart. Just like if all you're taking is junk food, or if you're drinking poison regularly, it's going to have an effect on your body. Now, what are some of the things that we do that can have an effect on our spiritual health? One of them has to do with what we're looking at every day, what we're watching, what we're listening to, what we're talking about. All of these things imprint on the heart. Okay? Think of it as food. Think of it as what you're putting in your mouth. Okay? Except this is going through the eyes and straight to the heart. Or it goes through the ears straight to the heart. Or it goes from the tongue straight to the heart. All of that is input that goes to the heart. Now, we live in a social media world. We live in a world of screens. Now, the vast majority of what we see on our screens isn't good for the heart, just generally. So you have to be careful of that. And you have to just remember that whatever you're taking in, it's going to your heart. It's not going to my heart. It's not going to your neighbor's heart. It's your heart. So it's actually you who gets affected. So just be very mindful of what's going into your eyes. Be very mindful of what you're listening to, mindful of what you're talking about. Because all of that, it ends up accumulating on the heart. Now, of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most merciful, and we can clean the heart through istighfar, and we must, because we're human. We're never going to be perfect. Again, don't fall into despair when you make a mistake. We're human. But just do your best to guard your eyes and your ears and your tongue, because all of that is input. Another thing to keep in mind is that when it comes to social media, and just like our normal routine of being on our phones and basically seeing a lot of screen time, whether it's what we're watching or what's on our newsfeed, is that there is a spectrum, okay? There's things on this side which are just clearly haram, right? Which I don't need to tell you about. You all know it's clearly haram. Pornography, for example. Then there's like over here, where a lot of what we are just used to seeing is basically soft porn. Okay, like nowadays the programming, on Netflix or whatever, it's just basically porn, but they don't call it porn, right? So the idea is that watching these things affects the heart. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told the believing man and the believing women to lower their gaze and guard their chastity for a reason, because our eyes are the window to our hearts. So guarding what we watch, and I know it can become just like run-of-the-mill, you just get used to it, but recognize that has a direct effect on the health of your heart. That when you see something haram, it's like a black spot gets put on your heart. This is called ran in the Quran. Anytime we commit a sin, and there are sins of the eyes just as there are sins of the limbs. Anytime we commit a sin, Allah says, كَلَّا بَلْ رَانَ عَلَى قُلُوبِهِمْ مَا كَانُوا يَكْسِبُونَ. That there is a stain that gets put on the heart from what they do. Now, when a heart gets covered with stains, it becomes a sick heart, and eventually can become a dead heart. So we want to keep our heart healthy and alive. That's our ultimate goal. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, there's a very beautiful long dua of Ibrahim alayhi salam, وَلَا تُخْزِنِي يَوْمَ يُبْعَثُونَ يَوْمَ لَا يَنْفَعُ مَالٌ وَلَا بَنُونَ إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ. So he asks Ibrahim alayhi salam, do not disgrace me on the day when everyone is brought back. The day when nothing will benefit anyone from wealth or children. Wealth and children. Children at that time was basically a symbol of power. So your wealth and your power isn't going to benefit you at all. إِلَّا مَنْ أَتَى اللَّهَ بِقَلْبٍ سَلِيمٍ, except for the one who comes back to Allah with a heart that's sound and healthy. A heart that is healthy. So our greatest objective, our greatest mission in this life is to go back to Allah with a healthy heart. Is to use this time on this earth to build a healthy heart. Qalbun salim. Okay, that's our goal.